Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to the show, where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. I'm so glad you're here today because we sit down with Matt Lubaroff, a StoryBrand Certified guide and marketing expert with over 20 years of experience leading teams in marketing, sales, customer service, and leadership. Matt shares his journey from a full-time marketing manager to a part-time employee and certified StoryBrand guide, and how he helps small businesses create clear messaging that resonates with their audience. Now, I first met Matt from afar in a roundtable presentation where he spoke about Google Analytics 4 and how we as small business owners should be aware of the Google changes coming down the pike. And the changes are upon us right now. As of July 1st, 2023, the old Google Analytics platform is going away and making room for Google Analytics 4. I thought the info that he gave in that roundtable was so amazing, so I reached out to him to share here too. Our conversation isn't only centered around StoryBrand and Google Analytics 4 and data telling a story, but I was so delighted to learn how and why he made some big changes in his work life to create a lifestyle to be more present for his kids as they are growing up. I'm excited for you to meet Matt, so let's hop into my conversation with him. Well, hi, Matt, and welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, before I ask anything about the analytics stuff that first drove me to reach out to you, let's learn more about you. How about you share a fun fact about yourself that may not be in your bio?
I'm trying to think if I have any fun facts. It's not that strange. I live in Missoula, Montana. I have a husband and a parent of two children. Maybe this one will definitely not be in the bio, but I once performed in a trombone quartet across Europe as part of a high school trip. We got to play, I think, in Rothenburg, Germany, and some other historical cities and towns across that area. That came to mind. It's not something I necessarily thought of in quite some time, but I guess that would be fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, that is a cool fact. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Right before we hit record, you told me that the Live Full, Work Fun resonated for you because you found StoryBrand and you made some changes in your lifestyle. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I had been introduced to StoryBrand in 2015 when I was still working full-time. My wife was full-time as a physician. That was when the company I was working for, which is a lawyer's malpractice insurance company here in Missoula, Montana, we were going through the process of rebranding, updating our website, updating our messaging when I heard Donald Miller speak on a podcast about his book, Building a Story Brand. So I went down purely on behalf of ALPS, the company I work for, so I could take us through that process. Loved it, fell in love with the concept, the marketing framework. StoryBrand did everything we did, and we had a ton of success. But around 2017, when StoryBrand launched its guide certification program, was also at a time where my wife, who works way more hours than she should as a physician, and I was working enough hours in a full-time role overseeing marketing, customer service, and sales. We had outsourced all of our childcare. And while that allowed us to live a very fortunate life, it kind of left us feeling empty because we were trusting our children's lives to others. And the certification with StoryBrand allowed me to start thinking about ways that I could be more involved with my children's lives and provide a better family atmosphere for the four of us. So got certified in September of 2017. and started tiptoeing my way in it. And then finally, in August of 2018, I approached my CEO and asked if I could step out of the management role and move part time, where I still work at Alps, story branding, the messaging, and the marketing that we do. I also offer StoryBrand services underneath my own shingle. But most importantly, out of that, allowed my wife and I to provide a much more stable environment for our family. I get to run our kids around to all their activities. I get to do the chores at home and mow the lawn and clean the house, all while making all of our lives more enjoyable. And that's been very, very rewarding. So StoryBrand gave me this opportunity to provide a better lifestyle, or the lifestyle that my family and I wanted.
That is great. With that, did you have any resistance from your boss to go from full time to part time?
Surprisingly, no. I remember the night before I went in to have that conversation, and when we made the decision that we were going to do this, my wife and I were both prepared that he would say no and that I would have to leave the company. He handled it amazingly. He was very supportive. He has since admitted he didn't think it would work out. His concern was twofold. One, having been so involved, it was a company of 60, 65 employees. And across my three departments, I managed a third of the company and was involved in strategic planning and operational planning. And so he was a little doubtful that I could take that hat off and step into a role where I no longer had the same onus of control and that I could let go of many of those things. He was also worried that my story brand business that I was doing on my own time would encroach on my time when I was sitting at a desk. He's always been supportive, but he's admitted he was doubtful and has been very gracious, but also thankful that I was able to keep those lines separated and blurred and provide such a value. I looked at it for him. I know we're not supposed to think about ourselves. What StoryBrand is about being a guide and allowing others to be the hero. But this was a chance for the company that had supported me to benefit from someone who had been a manager for 10 years and could think at that level, but happily work at an individual contributor level. And that's rewarding and enriching for myself. And I believe it's been beneficial to the company.
What has been the biggest challenges in this transition?
The biggest challenge is something he was fearful for. It's pushed me hard to recognize that so many of the decisions that I used to make and so many of the things that I was in control and responsible for, I no longer was. Thankfully, the person who took over my role as the marketing manager, we have a fantastic relationship and we can rely on each other. And I'm still able to impact the business in ways as they need me to, and for other employees within the department who have less experience than me and this might be their first job or first opportunity, then it kind of can provide that experienced voice, help support the company in a way that they get the benefit of experience without having to pay me as much money.
Yeah. Well, how do you serve your clients and who do you serve? Do you have a specific type of demographic that you serve?
Yeah. So externally, our clients are lawyers. Our Alps Insurance, the company that I work for, that part of my life, that company serves small law firms, primarily solo law firms, 11 two-people law firms. So in many ways, it's the same type of audience I am. I'm a solopreneur. These are solopreneurs. So speaking to the challenges that these attorneys have, where they have to run their own business and they might be also trying to pick up children. They don't have a staff that they can rely on. So they have to do everything as well as serve their clients. From my marketing business, I have found myself also specializing in small businesses, organizations, nonprofits, solopreneurs who can really benefit from a global background, global expertise, from strategy to operations to tactics, that I understand the roles they play and then many hats that they wear and what they need to do to be successful. Solopreneurs and small businesses, whether it's a law firm or the shop down the road, there's no extra, right? There's no extra time. There's no extra energy. There's no extra money to waste on marketing that's inefficient. And so that the StoryBrand perspective, where we maximize and we speak to the problems that we solve, really has served me well for both the internal customers that serve at Alps, the external customers that Alps serve, the lawyers, as well as in my StoryBrand business.
I love that because you've gone through it and you have that perspective. So it makes every dollar count and is
Yeah.
valuable. And the communication through story is so genuine, I think. And
Yeah.
when we talk about sales and marketing, it's kind of got a bad rap.
When I talk with salespeople, one of the and even think about joining a sales role, the first reality I try to guide them to understand is everybody is selling something every day of the week, every minute of the day. I might be selling something to my children as I try to encourage them to do a chore or to study harder or to practice this. I'm selling them on something. And from a business perspective, this picture that everyone has in their mind that tends to be negative of selling is that traditional cold calling. I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling you. I'm knocking on your door and I'm trying to convince you to do something. When in reality, selling when done well, which you understand, Gayla, with StoryBrand, we aren't selling. We're providing a solution. We're addressing a fear that they have. We're creating an identity for them where they can see themselves to be successful. That's selling, where most people think of selling as the movie or the TV commercial that gives selling a bad name.
Matt, on your website, you talk a lot about StoryBrand. So you have StoryBrand packages.
Mhm.
And you have Google Analytic packages. We've talked a little bit about StoryBrand. What got you into Google Analytics? Have you always done that through your marketing role?
I've always been a numbers person. A lot of people like to say data geek, but that generally is done with a chuckle and a negative connotation when I look at numbers and data as a way to tell a different story and to read the words that numbers are telling us. So I started with Google Analytics from the beginning of my time, and measurement was always a challenge for me in my full-time job because as an insurance company, we had a lot of disparate systems and we struggled to follow the customer journey from beginning to end. We would usually get to about a halfway point. So constantly trying to find better ways to measure the customer journey from beginning to end. And then in August last year, maybe July, I saw the announcement from Google that Universal Analytics, or what we all just refer to as Google Analytics, was going to be replaced by Google Analytics 4. And that scared me because I didn't really feel like I had the greatest grasp over what we were doing from a measurement perspective. But I had just figured a whole bunch of things out. And I was like, oh my goodness, it took me this long to get here. I need to start paying attention to Google Analytics 4 now. So I rolled up my sleeves. There's a saying that my father-in-law, some advice he gave at our wedding: when you're in a barrel eating apples, got to eat the apples in the barrel, meaning it doesn't matter what obstacles are in the way. If that's the situation in front of you, you have to find ways to solve for that situation. So I went and took a couple classes and it felt good, but I found myself still frustrated with this transition. So I took another class where I got certified in Google Analytics 4 and really dove in and transitioned, taught myself implementation and measurement and goals and e-commerce. And that's how I got introduced to it. And the reason being, I love to tell the story through data. As marketers, we create this journey and invite people into a story loop, and we take them along a path from one page to the next, and ideally they interact with us, right? So on your website, it might be schedule a call. If you sell something, it might be buy now. It could be a book a reservation, right? But we're trying to invite customers through to a journey to take a desired action. How do we measure that, right? Where did they come from? We're doing all these marketing activities. Can we measure where they started and where they ended? And what actions are they taking? Are they taking the desired action, or are they taking some of those secondary actions? So being able to capture that and learn from it and let that data tell us a story, that's really, really powerful. And that's kind of that's what led me to it, as well as what July 1st is not that far away. And on July 1st, Google will switch. Universal analytics, our old way of measuring things, will stop collecting data, and everyone will need to measure their data in Google Analytics 4. So I've been raising that flag and jumping up and down and waving my arms, trying to get people to understand, boy, don't wait till it's too late. You got to do it now, and you got to learn it now, and let's get you set up correctly so you want to be able to continue to tell that story from June 30th to July 1st without wondering what's next.
What is it that our listeners really need to know, even if you don't look at the data right away? Should you get a number?
You should get a number. I would say you should be looking at your data, even if it's once a month, because it's free. So I start with the fact that Google Analytics is a free website reporting and app. If you have an iOS app or an Android app, you can also measure things. It's free. So you're being given a tool that can benefit you at no cost to you. So definitely do it. And even if all you do is set it up and get data flowing, if you're not ready to start looking at the data is always there. If you wait until you are ready to start looking at your data, then you're not going to start measuring until the day you decide to set it up. It's really not the most challenging thing you'll ever do. There are Google support documents, and if I'm 100% honest, some of them are written for a very technical person, and some of them are written for a non-technical person. There are tons of help resources, including me, that can set you up, because as small business owners, right, as entrepreneurs, we look at cash flow, right? We look at those types of things. We look at money in, money out. How much revenue am I bringing? What's my profit margin? How much are my expenses? Where can I cut this? Where can I add that? We manage our business with numbers and with data, no matter what we do. This is a free tool that allows you to evaluate your marketing activities for free, and you can glean the same types of lessons. And that's super, super important. It would be like if you were running a restaurant and you never kept track of what people were ordering. You just looked at the money in. You're like, well, I don't know if I sold 5 sandwiches or 10 or 15 steaks or 10. I just know how much money I have. We would never do that from an inventory perspective. So why would we do that from a website and a marketing perspective?
For all practicality, make sure that you generate an account on Google Analytics and get that and have that number. Once you have that number, because you like link your URL, right?
Yes, you have to. There is some setup, and it depends on what your web platform is. You know, the Squarespaces of the world, the Wixes of the world, these fantastically wonderful do-it-yourself website builders. They have integrations built in where go into some settings and you put in that number that Google has provided for you. And from there, other website builders, many people have their site on WordPress, or maybe they have a Shopify account. There are relatively easy instructions to follow to connect it, or you could work with someone like me who's done it before and can make it super easy for you.
Excellent. Now, with all the data that is captured through Google Analytics, I'm sure that you can get really into the weeds. But if you're really a small business or a micro business, and maybe you're just starting out, but you want to get into looking at the data, get comfortable with that. Is there maybe 1 or 2 pieces of data that people should be just on their radar and just looking and just monitoring?
Yeah, the things that I look at the highest level, when I build dashboards for clients, I start as big a picture as possible. Even month over month, how much traffic, how many people are going to my website? Those are users. And I might say, well, how many different pages are there viewing? And I'm just looking at trends of traffic up or down. If I have a seasonal business, I know that maybe July is going to be my biggest month. Maybe I'm a lawn service, and this spring and summer month is my busiest. So I would expect to see traffic go up. And then in the winter, maybe I do some snowblowing services on the side. I see traffic a little less. So I'm looking at the highest level of trends of people. That's number one. The second thing I like to look at is where is my traffic coming from? Direct traffic, people typing in my web address directly into their web browser. That's direct traffic. Maybe I get most of my business from people searching for lawn services near me, right? I want to know if my traffic is coming through that. Maybe I'm running some advertisements on Facebook or I've paid for some search ads on Google. I want to know where, how am I getting my traffic so I can understand how people are finding me. And then if I want to change those tactics, if I want to fine tune it, that information is really good. And then also maybe the third thing that I might look at is what pages are people viewing on my website and how long are they spending? Most often the home page is there, but maybe I have a product page and like, well, no one's going to my product page. Why not? And then I can start to troubleshoot, reverse engineer to accomplish those goals. So overall traffic at the highest level, how am I getting my traffic and what's the high level actions they're taking on my site? Where are they going? What pages are they viewing?
That is super helpful information. You have a couple of packages on your website. It's like a get data flowing package. That's a setup type.
That's a setup. That's, you know what? I looked at Google Analytics and I just want someone to connect it for me. I want to know that this information is flowing from my website or my app to my website and that everything's working correctly. And then I want someone to actually show me, to spend an hour with me, teaching me how to look at reports and read reports. That's out there on my website called the Get Data Flowing. I encourage you to go sign up. I'm happy to help you. I have a more advanced package out there, which includes the setup, but also for the person who'd like to take it a little bit further, where they say, boy, I'd love to know how many times people click on this button, or I'd like to track certain events that are larger, that are more specialized or more narrow than some of these just overall traffic patterns. And that's out there as well. And then, boy, if anybody ever wanted to say, well, I want some of this and I want some of that, let's just get on the phone or get on a Zoom meeting and let's talk and figure out the right way where I can help support you in learning what you want to learn from your own information.
That is wonderful, Matt. I had learned a lot during that round table, learned even more today. And I love how you incorporate data with story.
So the quote that Mark Twain says is there's three types of lies, damn lies, and statistics. And the point is, your numbers always tell a story, right? Mark Twain is a famous author. Your numbers always tell a story. And you can use numbers to tell all types of stories. But in all reality, we wanted to tell the story of our customer journey so that we can learn from the path that they take and make smarter, better informed decisions.
Well, I love hearing your story of making the intentional change in your life to be more present in your kids' lives, and that you had the opportunity to make the change. And how does your life look now versus 2017?
My life looks great. In fact, as we finish our call, my life looks like taking my youngest child to his drum lesson. But that's the joy. One of the things that my wife frequently reminds me if I'm having one of those parent days where I had to, and she says, no, you get to. And so thankfully, my children are, for the most time, great children, and they're fun to be around. And so I get to spend my time with his children, and StoryBrand has been a pretty important tool that allows me to do so. And I'm sure with your audience, it resonates because they're choosing to be solopreneurs and entrepreneurs so they can live the lifestyle they want to live.
It is amazing. I really appreciate you coming on the show today, sharing what you know about StoryBrand, your knowledge, your expertise about StoryBrand and Google Analytics, and sharing your lifestyle and, just making your life as the full life that it is. Matt, how can people get in contact with you or learn more about you?
They can email me at matt@mattlubaroff.com, or even easier than that, just go to my website, mattlubaroff.com, and I'm happy to talk with anybody at any time.
That is fantastic. Thanks so much for being here today.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here with me today. Now, I don't know about you, but I learned a lot from Matt today. Sure, there's important information that we all must know and track our website traffic and customer journey behavior, with Google Analytic changes happening like July 1st. But I'm truly, truly inspired by Matt's story of how he went to his boss and created a different position for himself, still providing tremendous value for his employer in a different role on a part-time basis, and creating his own business to help get that flexibility and freedom he was looking for to be more present in his children's lives. I just love that. Well, let's continue the conversation, shall we? Hop over to Facebook and post what your biggest takeaway from today's show is in the Live Full, Work Fun Facebook group. Well, thanks again for listening, and until next time, have a fantastic week. Live full, work fun.